Hello everyone, this is Dr. Satish S. Bornare, Department of Genetics and Plant Breeding, Kekewa College of Agriculture, Nasik. So friends, our today's topic is plant genetic resources. In our first video, we have already discussed what plant genetic resource means, what are the types and kinds, and what are the importance and need to conserve. In this video, we are going to study the activities of plant genetic resources. So friends, these activities in germplasm conservation or plant genetic resource conservation is having first the collection of germplasm, second one is its conservation, third one is its evaluation, then cataloging into that germplasm, then multiply it and distribute, and finally utilization. So these are the different activities going to going through in germplasm conservation. So first activity is collection of germplasm. Here we can see the germplasm or collection of germplasm is a process of obtaining various germplasm accessions for a germplasm collection. The germplasm collection is done in the form of exploration. So exploration is the trips arranged for the collections, that is exploration. And another is the procurement. We can procure this germplasm from the different agencies. So these are the two different ways for collection of the germplasm. First one is the exploration. We explore all the available resources, and second one is we procure from the different agencies, indigenous or exotic. So this is the first step for collection of germplasm. Then second one is once we have collected the germplasm, we have to conserve it, and this is the broad criteria or classification of germplasm conservation. We can conserve the germplasm in situ and ex situ. This in situ conservation means when we conserve the germplasm in its original natural habitat is called as in situ conservation. While when we conserve this genetic germplasm away from its natural habitat called as ex situ conservation. And in ex situ conservations are having different forms such as seed banks or gene banks, DNA banks, cell or organ bank, shoot tip bank, or plant bank or field bank. So these are the different banks or different way with which we can conserve the germplasm ex situ. That means away from its natural habitat. And another ex situ way is also a cryopreservation. Cryopreservation means the preservation of the germplasm at a very low temperature, that is minus 190 degrees Celsius at a liquid temperature, in liquid temperature. So this is the another method of the ex situ conservations. While in case of in situ conservations, we protect or conserve the germplasm in its natural habitat like as national parks or biosphere reserve or gene sanctuaries or wildlife sanctuaries, etc. So this is the case of in situ conservation. So on the basis of this storability, the seeds can be classified into orthodox seeds or recalcitrant seeds by Robert 1973. So these orthodox seeds means seeds that can be dried to a 5% moisture content or lower without lowering their viability. Here is the main criteria, that the seed which can be dried up to 5% moisture, and even though there is no loss in viability, such a seed are called as orthodox seeds. And such a seeds can be easily stored for long periods. For example, most of our crop plants having orthodox seeds, for example, wheat, maize, rice, and all these are the orthodox seeds. Means we can dry them at a low moisture and they cannot lose their viability upon dried to a lower moisture content. Contrary to that, there are recalcitrant seeds. These seeds whose viability drops drastically if their moisture content is reduced below 12 to 30%. Means if we change or if we dried them up to the low moisture, their viability is reduced. And that's why these are called as recalcitrant seed. The condition for seed storage depend on duration of the storage. For example, seeds of many forest and fruit trees like cocoa and theobroma and etc., which are recalcitrant seeds. So seed banks collections are again classified into three groups. As we see earlier, seed banks is ex situ conservations, and during these seed banks collections, there are different categories or the classifications of these seed banks collections. First one is a base collection. It consists of all the accessions present in the germplasm of a crop, which are stored at about minus 20 degrees Celsius with 5% moisture. And they are distributed only for regeneration when germination falls below 95%. This is the criteria for regeneration of that particular germplasm. If their germination falls below 95%, then they can regenerate it. And germination tests are done with every 5 to 10 years. So this is the best collection. Main criteria of this best collection is the storage temperature and storage life. Here the storage temperature is minus 20 degrees Celsius with 5% moisture. Next one is active collection. This is active collection. The accessions in active collections are stored at 0 degree or close to 0 degrees Celsius, and the seed moisture is 5 to 8%. Here major difference is of the storage temperature, and this storage is for medium duration, that is 10 to 15 years, as compared to the base collection. Base collections is stored for up to 100 years, but active collections are stored for medium duration, that is 10 to 15 years, and they are used for evaluation, multiplication and distribution of the accessions. So this is the major difference between base and active collection. Last one is a working collection. As name indicate, working, the accessions which are actively used in crop improvement programs constitute working collections. The seeds are stored for 3 to 5 years merely at 5 to 10 degrees Celsius with about 10% moisture. And these collections are maintained by breeders and randomly oftenly used in our breeding program. So these are the three different collection types: base, active and working. They are majorly categorized on the basis of their storage temperature and storage life. Among these, base collection is the longest storage for near about 100 years. Active collection is stored for 10 to 15 years, while these working collections is stored for 3 to 5 years and actively used in breeding program. So third activities in germplasm conservation is germplasm evaluation. Once we collect it, then after collection, there is a germplasm evaluation. Germplasm evaluation, once we consider it, we have to evaluate it. And for evaluation, the evaluation consists of assessment of the germplasm accession for their various features or the traits of the some known or potentially used in breeding program. The very purpose of our germplasm conservation to utilize it in a breeding program. So for that, we have to evaluate this germplasm, and the germplasm accessions are evaluated for the different criteria or traits, such as physiological traits, biochemical traits, plant pathological traits, entomological traits, genetical traits and morphological traits. So these are the evaluation criteria, and these germplasms are tested in field also. Then fourth one is a germplasm cataloging, data storage and retrieval. This is the fourth activity of germplasm conservation. In this, each germplasm accession is given an accession number. This number is prefixed in India with IC, that is for indigenous collection, EC for exotic collection, or IW for indigenous wild collection. So these are the prefix naming in India for cataloging the germplasm. And information regarding the species and variety names, place of the origin, adaptation and on its various feature or descriptor is also recorded, so that one can easily utilize these germplasms later on. for their breeding program. Next is fifth, germplasm multiplication and distribution. Once we evaluate it and cataloging it, we are now able to multiply it and to distribute. The very purpose of this germplasm conservation is to use it by a different agencies or different personals who are in crop improvement. So for that, the germplasm accessions requested by various breeders, researchers are multiplied and supplied to them, usually without cost. And ordinarily, active collections are used for this purpose. So as we discussed earlier, the active collections are collections mint store for 3 to 5 years, and which is very oftenly used by breeders. And these multiplication and distributions are of that active collections majorly. Then last step is germplasm utilization. The very purpose of plant genetic resources is to utilize in an efficient way or efficient breeding method. And this can be achieved by this way, the germplasm utilization. The germplasm can be utilized in the breeding program in the different three ways. First one is a direct release as a variety. If you found some plant genetic resource or germplasm is having an extraordinary criteria, so we can go for the variety also. Then second is it may be subjected to selection for developing a variety. So if we found some character are suitable and some are undesirable, then we are subjecting them to selection, and after that we'll develop a variety. Or if not so, then it may be used as a parent in hybridization programs. So these are the possible utilization of germplasm. For that purpose, we conserve and do the business of germplasm conservation. Thanks friends, this video is for education purpose only and references are as below. Thanks once again.